कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में इतना सा फर्क है, एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी, ये एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ, मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ, मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to this Sunday edition of our webinar. I'm Gaurav Maria, Chairman of Franchise India Group. So this is going to be about 25 to 30-minute kind of a webinar where we're going to talk about a very important topic called exit planning. This webinar is specially designed for people who are now considering to sell their business and want to seek a right valuation and also to find a right buyer who can take over their business. This is powered by BusinessX. BusinessX is part of Franchise India Group, which is India's foremost platform for selling your business. Let me give you a little overview about both companies. Franchise India was started in 1999. It is India's first start your own business platform. Anybody who comes through Franchise India platforms are our exhibitions, our forums, our conferences, our magazines, our digital platforms, and even our big broking network, which is spread across India. You can come to any of these platforms and choose the right business for yourself. And Franchise India, the last 24 years, have helped a lot of entrepreneurs who wanted to start their own business come to our platforms and realize their goals. About 8 years back, we started another company called BusinessX. BusinessX was India's first business resale platform, where anybody who wanted to sell the business came to this platform. It was originally digitally enabled platform, which means you come to our website, you can see a lot of listed opportunities. People who want to really sell the business come and list on our platform, and people who want to buy an existing business come and see these opportunities and buy there. And now we have a big network of our certified business brokers also spread across India who are also helping people to exit their businesses. Now, exiting a business is a very, very complex decision. Very complex because it involves a lot of critical thinking. And more importantly, it is very important to come in terms that you want to sell your business. And I feel that entrepreneurs and business owners are so deeply emotionally attached to their businesses. Sometimes for them to make a decision to decide that this is the time they want to exit the business is not there. And a lot of times they find it their personal failure because they want to have to sell the business. A lot of people are emotionally attached. If they want to sell the business, it looks like that you've not done well or you're not able to do that. But this has changed now, largely because of this new startup mindset, where every startup founder really thinks about an exit when he's starting the business. So exit is part of their thinking process, unlike what used to be done in the traditional times. Traditional times, businesses were built for legacy. Businesses were built for passing to generations, and that's how you need to do that. And but now every startup who starts in the business always have an exit in mind. They want to really do a profitable exit, which gives them kind of so to say, wealth creation, which every startup really thinks on. How do you really take that mindset and become part of even traditional structures? That's very, very important. And before we get into that, let's understand why people want to sell the business. That's very important. One of the reasons why people want to sell the business, because they are passing through some kind of financial pressure. And this is something which I saw in a lot of businesses, and particularly business owners fail to admit this. They are not doing well. Their business is not doing well. They're losing month on month. They're bringing and adjusting some kind of a cash flows. The business is not showing that kind of a ability to do that. And most of the time, because of undercapitalized. Because it's undercapitalized, you even struggle harder to make the business sense out of it, right? Because you can sell more, but you don't have a right inventory. You can do more, you don't have right people. You can get into more customers, but you don't have right marketing, and many other things, which all are linked on one basic principle, that you don't have enough capital to support your business. And you continue to give yourself some reason or other to sustain month on month and do that. I know a lot of people who actually, like, for example, there's a young business owner who left his job just before Corona, 4 months, 5 months before Corona, started a food outlet. And then lockdown happened. And then in lockdown, he called me up and said, look, my business is not doing well. I'm considering to sell. And I told him that, look, take whatever you get right now, but sell the business, get out of this business and start something else, because you not be able to sustain. You don't know how long this is. But he didn't agree. He somehow managed, and somehow entire thing shifted from his bigger location, took a smaller location, went to put money again for a renovation for that particular thing, shifted again from there to another location and started a dark kitchen, because he had this equipment. He always used to feel that I lose my equipment, I lose my franchise fees. And recently he called me again. And when he started, he was that time thinking that he can get about 40 lakh rupees out of his restaurant, which he was doing. And recently he called me again. He says, I want to sell. And I told him that you will not get even 3 to 4 lakh rupees for your equipment, which is there. And he says that I'm also fine. So see, this whole transition of somebody was ability to get about 40 lakh rupees, because he originally invested about 60, 65 lakh rupees, to now get down to a level where there's no residual value left. I call this is just a timing issue. It's a timing issue that he didn't time it well. If he knew that there is no way he would have sustained this business, and he would have not done that. Cumulative losses, apart from the capital, he did about 65 lakhs, maybe over the 2 years, he would have lost another 40 lakh rupees. His cumulative losses would have gone down to about 1 crore, where he's not getting even 4 lakh rupees or 5 lakh rupees out of that business. More importantly, 2 years of prime time of your energy also has been wasted. So when you come down to a decision where you feel that you're not making any financial sense of that, it is very important to admit. Not only admit, but tell your family and friends and say, this is what I've decided, and I would change the entire thing, and stick to that, because this is a very important decision. A lot of people want to see, they see so no value in their business, or they're not having that kind of capital to support their business, but they don't take decision. Second thing, which I'm also seeing, which is a good thing to do, and we are encouraging a lot of entrepreneurs to do that. If you have a profitable business and you want to really cash out, that's also good, because that's also a right stage. You decide that I want to exit the business. You've built something, it's already profitable, and you want to pursue something else in life. This is also a reason why you want to sell the business. Third is fatigue. You are not enjoying what you do. You might be making some money, but you're not enjoying. Like, there is a second generation departmental store business. They run 4 departmental stores, large ones. And the new generation has come in, and they have no interest to run the departmental store. No interest. They're just going there. They have no ability to contribute anything. You have very little to improve apart from doing, they did some digitally, they put some app and things of that nature. But now this young generation is feeling exhausted because they are doing what is not requiring their critical time. They're all educated in different places, and they have to run this business because it's a 3rd generation departmental store business. And I felt that this is really wrong on the decision of even elders to put their children into this business, because they're not going to be creatively contributing anything. And you are putting your children into something which next 30 years, they just be custodian. Creatively, they will not be able to put anything in that business, and they will not be able to really do that. And if it is that a case, why would you not sell that business to somebody more logical, create that wealth, and give your children that opportunity that they can go out and create something else meaningful in their life? So sometimes it is an emotional trap which happens from families, which they really put their on burden on their children because they have to run that entire. Another area which is now becoming more and more obvious is succession. Earlier, every business owner had to exist. This is given. Every business owner eventually would have to exit. They have two choices. They have to either give it to their family or they give it to somebody outsider. Normally, people would give it to their family, which means that they would pass it on to their children or somebody in their family, which would start running the business. But you have to have that. If you don't have that succession plan and you are at a stage, say you are in a late 50s and you are at a stage where you don't see your children running this business, then you need to start planning your succession. You not to start planning your exit planning, maybe take a 1 year structured way of approaching, consolidate the assets. Some of times you have a lot of personal assets also involved in your business. How do you destructure that? How you make sure that your personal assets are taken out and business is transferred to a new business buyer? Then there are other reasons also. There are many, many other reasons where people decide to really sell the business. It might be partner split. This is becoming very common because a lot of founders come together today. I mean, 4 founders start a business, and I know that 4 different minds try to drive businesses at a different level. And at a certain stage, they don't see a synergy and they don't find a merit to sell to each other. And then they have to look at selling outside. But when you are looking to do that, and when you are looking to really sell the business, what are the 3 areas which you comes to your mind? One option is you completely sell out, 100% transfer. Either it can be a company transfer or it can be just taken the business out of it and transfer that business, depending on what structure you have. Sometimes you have a very big legacy with the company, which means there are some liabilities, some other issues, and the new buyer doesn't want to buy the company. They want to start a new co and take just the business asset, that asset to that business. So we put the valuation in it and we transfer that business itself. There is also an option of a partial buyout, which means this is very carefully understand. A lot of people have debt on their books. And I'm telling every single business owner who meets me and say, if you have a debt on your books, how creatively think how you can convert into an equity. Because debt is a trap, especially for small and medium enterprise, debt is a trap. Even if you've taken some kind of OD or some kind of a term loan, it is a trap because the cost of capital in India is so high that you eventually work only to pay the bank. And eventually, it is always carry the danger of some form of default or bankruptcy. So you work even harder, you always in pressure. How you can create that into an equity? A well-capitalized businesses really are able to scale and grow. Businesses which are in pressure of some form of debt and structure, they will never be able to do that. So creatively think through that how you want to do that. Business X also provides you service where you want to just raise capital. It can be a strategic investor or just a financial investor, either of that. We will help you to raise that. Sometimes you don't want to completely sell off the business. The reason is that you are operationally challenged to run the business. And sometimes, we get people who say, my business is good, but I have no ability to put operational time into that. So which means that you need an operational partner, somebody who comes in and starts taking control over the business rather than just a professional or employees running that, especially when it comes to small business. Small and medium-sized businesses, which are businesses up to 100 crores, they are need a very in the business kind of approach. You cannot put a very senior management structure. So you need to have a bit of ownership, I call. And that ownership really comes from somebody who is vestedly involved in the business. And this is something which a lot of large companies have also done. Bata used to run all their company-owned stores and they were losing money. And then Mr. Bata decided that he will like to shift these stores to bring in an operator partner. And this operator partner was a franchisee. Normally, it used to be the store manager himself who puts 10 lakh rupees and used to start running as a profit and loss of that business and become a, so to say, operating franchisee for that business. We are doing this for a lot of corporates, including Tata Croma. Where we're doing a build to operate transfer. I'm doing a very large project in South India. It's a big meat retailer, and we're shifting their 25 stores to these operators. So if you are somebody who's looking for getting an operator partner, get some kind of investment from operator. An operator has to be somebody strategic, somebody who can contribute to the business and grow the business. So with these clarity, either you want to do 100% sellout or you do partial sellout or you need operational. These are 3 options available. Then we get on to setting our goals. What is the foundational goal? That's very, very important. Foundational goal is first to get financial freedom. I know how much people feel trapped when they are in part of the business. They are never free. They almost all their life is going into their business. They're never able to do things which they always wanted to do with the successful business. People start business and they feel that they would be successful one day, they would create a lot of wealth and they can enjoy that wealth. But this even never happens in their life and they continue to just run the business. And if you would have an ability to find the right exit, to do things which meaningful things you want to do in life, all people who have got the exit at the right time, look at the Bansals, which got exit from Flipkart. A lot of other people have got great exits. Then they are able to do a lot of things they wanted to always do as entrepreneurs, right? They wanted to really create new things. They want to contribute somewhere else, or they want to do a social journey, or they want to take any other journey in their life. So that can only happen if you have a financial freedom. You unlock yourself, you unlock whatever you've been trapped in. Otherwise, you're just managing what you've really built. Second is limit your liability. That's also a foundational goal. Every entrepreneur should work on how can they limit their liability. I know a lot of entrepreneurs go every day bed with a lot of pressure on their mind, because now these days bankers actually write personal guarantees, put your houses on entire thing. So you are on so much of pressure. The very good company pre-COVID, we were advising, actually I sold that business. It was a fairly large business. And the pressure for them, for this founder was, and he actually is a doctor, and they were running a big practice, a big chain of clinics. And every time I spoke to him, he told me that 30 years of his and his wife have been invested in this business, and they have actually pledged their own home and other things to this business. So pretty much 30 years of hard work you've done. And when you look back and say everything what I did is actually pledged to my business. And if unfortunately what happened, it happened in terms of Corona happened, all these clinics got shut and your business is not doing well and bankers are chasing you for getting that money, you are in a trap. And when you look at it, looks like that 30 years of your life and your effort and energy all can go away with this particular piece without nothing of no mistake of yours. It's just been circumstances. So if you have a situation like that, you need to really start thinking that any adversity really comes in, you're better prepared. So if you are on a situation where you have some kind of a debt, then you need to limit your liability and bring in a good investor who can take over the business. Second is your operational goal. Operationally, how do you see the continuity of the business can happen? Just selling a business is one thing, but how do you make sure that business continue to do that? And third is value-based goals. Value-based goals, which means that you build something for some purpose, right? And the new buyer should also appreciate that purpose. So there are three goals: foundational goals, operational goals, and third is value-based goals. So when we are looking at a buyer and when we do the profiling of who can be our buyer, we always see these three fitments, how they can be the right fitment to give you what you want. Second is how can they operationally handle the business? And third, are they sync with the same value system which you have been coming from? So once Business X starts working with you, we start understanding and profiling who can be the right buyers. But the first foremost thing is to really set the valuation. What is the valuation? What people would be happy to pay for your business? And this is one of the areas which is very critical because valuation to me is always a mix of an art and science. Art is really how do you perceive your business and what value it delivers, what kind of problem solving it is doing and things of that nature. And science is all about numbers, how your numbers are telling. What are the numbers in past are telling, what numbers can be predictability for the next, and how you can really demonstrate that. That's very, very important. So this becomes extremely, extremely important to set a valuation. I have a particular rule which I have built over the time, especially for small and medium enterprise, because some of the valuation tools of either startups or even mature companies, large companies, don't work for mid-sized businesses. Mid-sized businesses need to be looked at very differently. Rather, every business is unique. Every business valuation has to be looked very, very deeply and uniquely. And I work on a principle called SAS principle, SAS principle. First S stands for the strategic value. What is the strategic value of this business? Why is this business so important? What difference it creates? It might be location, it might be some kind of proprietary mechanism or anything which is there very, very strategic. Sometimes the real estate itself is strategic. The real estate itself is very top location or any other thing which is there itself is a very important aspect. So that becomes the first S. A stands for the assets. Assets can be tangible and intangible. Rather, I'm more interested in intangibilization. It's your trademark, your proprietary information, your softwares, anything which is intangible IP being built in the business is very, very important. Tangible is easy. Tangible normally would give you only replacement value. So if I have this equipment, I can replace with this equipment at this price. So, but intangible are very, very critical. Sometimes that itself is a very important business model. I sold a publication to somebody, and there was no asset. There was really no asset. There was only just old systems and structure, but the IP was the brand itself. The brand was very, very popular, and brand was so popular, it can be extended to events, it can be extended to many other things. So to me, that was a very important aspect. Like with Franchise India and has another company called Bradford, we manage a brand called Marie Claire. Marie Claire is a magazine. And in India, we have licensed it to fashion, we have licensed it to the salons, we have licensed it to jewelry, we have licensed to sunglasses. So we have actually extended this magazine brand. Magazine is no more relevant, but we have extended this brand to many other categories needs to be done. So IP has become a very, very important. If your business has a strong IP which can be leveraged on other products or services, that is a good opportunity. I did this with the brand called Rasna. Rasna was just a drink. I leveraged that brand and started a QSR out of that. So many examples in past we have done. Recently we've done leveraging of a brand called Acer. Acer was a computing brand. It's just computers. And in India, the first time they have actually licensed it to a television. So now you go on Amazon and see the Acer televisions are available. And this was done by Franchise India. So Franchise India really works on these IPs to extend those IPs to meaningful categories. I will not extend Acer to something else, but anything which can be smart computing or anything which needs to be done, I will extend that to that thing. So rather we have now extended Acer to computer televisions and also medical equipment. And now smaller medical equipments which are coming in, we have extended Acer to that also. So coming back to this is very, very important to understand the asset, which are the assets intangible. And the last S is the subscribers. Who are the subscribers? Who are the customers for you? How they consume for you? How frequently they come to you? So that it becomes. So I really look at a business model, which is called SAS principles, strategic, asset, and subscriber value. So that's how we evaluate every business. Once the valuation is decided, and we really normally take a expectation alignment with the seller. Expectation alignment would be that this is a band which we will work. This is what we call non-negotiable value, which means that is must-have value. I should have this much minimum to exit the business, but there is always also have a nice-to-have value, which means that if I get this much, I will be happier to sell that. So we take the spectrum, we set the spectrum, we set this expectation right. And particularly if I don't set the expectation right with the seller, I don't take the listing. I don't take mandate because sometimes they're unrealistic. Let's be honest, unrealistic expectation because you're emotionally involved in the business. You feel that your business has this value, but businesses numbers are not telling me. And I don't like anybody coming and telling me about numbers which are not seen in the books. You know, sometimes business owners say, oh, I have some cash, I get this and get that. I discount all that because I don't want to work on anything which I cannot see. And I will never present this to any new buyer because I cannot see that. Because for us, it's very important that we are fair on both sides. Then only good transactions really happen. But what are the other critical things which a buyer always looks at? He looks at the team who's running the business, how sincere that team is, how easy is this business to be transferred. This is one of the most critical things. Sometimes businesses are small, but they have been designed like it's been very complex, very, very complex, like this departmental store thing. I looked at a business, it looks like that business owners have to do everything. They decide what to order, how to get it, and it is impossible. Even they had a private label strategy. Half of the company team didn't know that where they source from, right? So they have some contacts which they source from. And so it's very complex as a business design. And there was no critical team which looks very straightforward. This is the buying department. This is a supply chain department. This is your consumer experience. This is your technology. So there was nothing like that. It was people who have aged with you, which means that I was running a business. I used to have people and they are around and they have aged with us and they know their jobs to do. They just come in and fix their jobs, but there is no departmentalization. So when a new buyer comes in, he feels nervous to look at businesses like these because you are dealing with people who have grown with some kind of a relationship. And when a new buyer comes in, this breaks and it breaks and creates differences, and you are not able to transfer the entire thing. So how easy is your business to be transferred is extremely, extremely important. How well your diversified consumer base is. So on the first marks, I will not give this departmental store, but from a consumer base, they had a super consumer base, phenomenal consumer base, very big legacy from a new generation to older generation, strategic locations, so strategic that the cost of occupancy was very, very good. Older properties they've taken, long leases they have. So it was very interesting from that perspective. How realistic the growth was, I will again not give numbers because they already peaked out. They're doing very well, they're profitable, but they cannot do 2x of the same store. While they have a growth, which means that they can multiply that store in multiple other locations, but from the store to store growth, I don't see that growth. So that's also very important how growth is there. Financial control, very, very good control. Everything is well documented. So that's also very important. If your business has a strong financial control, that also happens. And how improving your cash flow and margins are, how your margins are improving, how you are improving that. So actually, if you really ask me, people ask me what a new buyer looks at. New buyer looks at only 5 things. Only 5 things. First is show him future over past. Don't show what you've done, how the business was started, how you worked on that. This all is good. This is known to you. But any new buyer who's coming in wants to know what he can do with that business going forward. That's important. Second, replacement of founder. That it's so easy to take over that business. It's not dependent on the founder himself or the business owner. And this is something sometimes small businesses fail because they're so much attached to the business that everything is around them. Even some of my businesses are superly dependent on me. So these businesses I cannot transfer because they are totally dependent on me. And that's something which is not good if you want to sell the business. If you want to raise money, people like founder story. People like to back somebody's idea. But if you want to sell the business, it needs to be automated. It needs to be run without you. You are redundant in that business. If you're not, we work with you. Business X team works with you to really create capabilities that it can be a professional setup which can be transferred to a new buyer. Third is predictability. How predictable your business is. Have you made a science out of your business that you can really define your business very quickly? And somebody in 2 to 3 weeks, 5 weeks can really understand and bring some kind of predictability of running that business. Fourth is unlock value. Every business has an unlock value. What is that? How we demonstrate that? That's very important. And fifth is really about recurring revenues, how your revenues are going to come and continue to come. And that's very important because the buyer doesn't want to really see that I'm buying an existing business where I have to really incubate this idea. Then it is a new business. Then why should I buy an existing business? If I'm buying an existing business, there is inherent value which is there, which I need to really take on. So understand that, do you have these 5 things? If you're not, then we work with you, consult you to really be ready to be presented to a new buyer. And then what is the timing? This is another very important aspect is, should I decide now and should I decide later? How much time I should give myself for this planning on exiting the business? These are all very critical points, very, very critical points. One, ask yourself, have you peaked out? Are you not able to grow beyond a certain point? And what are the reasons? It is reasons because you don't have no fresh ideas, or you need more capital, or something else, or maybe you don't have the right talent to grow, or you don't have that energy to grow. That also is true. Recently, I met somebody who I asked and say, why are we not growing your business? And he says, why should I grow? I have 2 daughters and already a very good business I've built and I have good assets. And every Indian knows their assets well. So they know and count very clearly. They all, you might be 500 crore man, or you might be 5,000, or maybe a 50 lakh rupee person. You know your worth, personal worth, but you don't know your business worth. So sometimes people just they don't have that energy to really go back and do entire things. So if all that is happening with you, maybe you want to exit the business. You want to also know the value of what the business you're running. Sometimes you know everything as a cost side, what you have invested, but you don't know what value you built. And that's where Business X really comes in to set the value for your business and then find you the right buyer. So ask yourself honestly, have you peaked out? Are you not growing? And there is no interest or energy left for you to grow, then maybe the time has come, you find the right buyer at the right time. But if the business starts declining, then you are eroding the value. So at the best, when you are peaked, that is a time really to find that. I think maybe somebody brings a fresh energy to this and take to the next level. Second is, you want to see clearly your competition has gone this and you are here. And the reason you're not able to go there because it needs much more capital than you have. which means that the dangerous part is that your competition would continue to become bigger and bigger, and you will become irrelevant. While you can still survive, but again, the value would be eroded. You will be finished. Like I'm advising now 3 large pharmacy chains, and I'm telling all 3 and say, you have just 6 months with you. Either try to be getting this high growth, high scale, or you will be finished, because the bigger would become very, very big. Tatas have entered, Reliance have entered. Now Flipkart bought another company called Sasta Sundar. They would enter. Amazon is going to enter. So the big boys would come. The whole landscape of pharma would change quickly, because the prices would disturb, the medicines would come cheaper, the technology would take over, the overall engagement would happen. This would revolutionize how pharma business runs in India. In next 3 years, the biggest disruption is going to come in the pharma space. These small shop owners would not be able to sustain. This is the same thing I saw when electronics, modern trends started coming in. It disrupted everything. And today you don't see these smaller television shops here and there. You see now the branded ones, or people are buying everything from Amazon, Flipkart, and places like that. So similar happened with telecom, these small retail shops which were selling phones. There was one time 75,000 shops which were like Nokia priority centers, where you used to sell Nokia. Where are they now? They all finished, because all the business has been taken by these big digital giants who have taken that business. So that is going to happen in a lot of industries. A lot of industries would be passing through a consolidation phase. If you feel that your competition is growing faster than you can see and you can grow, you are in a verge that they might be irrelevant, and the customer would shift suddenly to the bigger player. And if you have that situation happening, you cannot fight the elephant. If your industry is already started to produce elephants, you cannot fight the elephant. You need to collaborate. So decide right stage. Timing is very, very important too. And this time we are very focused on pharma and other categories. I want to be very focused on e-vehicle. E-vehicle also 300 companies have entered. Everybody wants to get into e-space. Everybody is so marginal players. The big boys are bringing a lot of money. Hero is committed 2,500 crore. Oyo has put 2,500 crore. Bajaj has committed 2,500 crores. So all these big boys, Tata has committed 5,000 crores. Now these companies are putting loads and loads of money, and they would come with a technology, evolution, better entire thing. And these marginal startups, which have no money to entire thing, why are they going to survive? So best timing for them would be to quickly either start consolidating, merging, going to somebody who's becoming bigger and say, why you want to really create a new product? I have a fantastic product. I have done R&D. And I want to really collaborate with you. So a lot of consolidation should be invited, rather should be proactively done that. Because if you don't see competing with these big boys in a certain sense, then you have lost that window. There is a window of new startups to enter, but there is a time when the industry starts getting into maturity. At that maturity level, M&A becomes the answer. You need to really go and look at a merger and acquisition. This is where opportunity. Otherwise, you are a bunch of those startups which would not be able to see light, and suddenly you have to close, and it would erode the investor money. Even your money or investors who have invested with you would not be able to do that. So very clear about the outcome. Like D2C companies, like direct to consumer companies, so many companies are coming in. Every third company is creating a direct to consumer brand. Somebody is creating Ayurvedic brand, somebody creating herbal brand, natural brands, different category, different packaging, all of them, because they're digital first companies, they digitally go out and get 3, 4, 5 crore of revenue, but they cannot become a 300 crore brand and 500 crore brand. So they need to really see that maybe Godrej buys you, Imami buys you, maybe a large Unilever or a Procter & Gamble invest with you to make logical sense out of that business. So I see a good timing for a lot of companies which have reached to a certain level, and they don't see that they have ability by themselves to really create the distribution. Some do, some have that ability. Product is a very big differentiator. They're able to get that right kind of capabilities, but a lot of them not able to do. Not everybody can build a Patanjali, not everybody can build it takes a lot of effort. Even Patanjali was copied by a lot of other religious gurus. Everybody wanted to copy Patanjali and try to produce. But I can tell you the nearest would be, say, Shri Shri, which would be only 200 crore, Patanjali is 10,000 crore. So there is no gap. There is a huge gap being created. Not everybody with the same, maybe more fan following can create what Patanjali was able to create or something like that. So you have to really see where your business is. So friends, this was a total overview what you need to do. If you are looking to sell your business, first you need to keep your mind right. You know that you have to decide. Second, you need to set your goals right. What is your goal? What do you want as an outcome from that? Third, you need to set your valuation right, where business X participates with you. Fourth, you need to really profile who you want and define what you want. That's very, very important. And fifth is also that you need to put a timeline, that this is a timeline you want to give to yourself, and look at three options. If you are in a serious issue, which means that you're in a financial pressure, and this is what I tell every single company which comes to me. They come to me and say, would you guarantee you would sell my business? I say, I can only guarantee three things, which can be outcome of this if you are losing money. First, I'll try to get you the right valuation. And if I see a strategic value in the business, I'll certainly get that right valuation for you. Second, you don't get a valuation, right valuation, we need to maybe cut a haircut. We need to really take a lower valuation and find a person who can turn around the business. And sometimes that is a situation, you need to bring in a lot of fresh capital, change of things, entire things, a lot of fresh investment has to be done. And unless and until I create a greed that you're getting things cheap, people don't put that money. Every asset can be sold in the market depending on what price it is. Like I also run a real estate broking company. Sometimes people bring to me a disputed property. I say, this also has a price, but we only get 20% of the 100 rupee value because it is disputed. It would need somebody to risk. And if they want to risk, they want the maximum margin. So that would get the second. And third is liquidation. Liquidation is the last answer, which you need to do. If you decide that there is no buyer which is coming in, we need to sell the assets. These are the only three options available for people who are losing money. But you need to come with the terms that you are where you are. If you are profitable, certainly we can get you a great valuation. Great valuation, we can get you a good financial investor. And Franchise India has one of the largest investor base. We have 6 million investors. How we work with every asset, we take a mandate. I personally would interview the seller or a business owner, understand his need, understanding his timing, understand his business well, understand your financials. Obviously, we'll be happy to sign a non-disclosure. Once we have understood your business and understood the kind of valuation expectation you have, then we'll take a mandate. Mandate would be a small fee upfront and balance would be on a percentage. That we have to discuss. For me, the asset is more important. And once we have decided that, then we'll take it to the market. Typically, to the market to get the first level of interest, it takes you anything from 45 to 60 days. And once the interest is right, then we start maturing the interest. And typically, you should give yourself a window of at least 6 months to get the exit. Sometimes it happens in 15 days. That's all right. Asset is like that. Consumer-facing assets, clear buyer group, brand is established. So 15 days also you can do a deal. And if you're realistic on the deal. But if you have give yourself 5 to 6 months, that would be the right time and continue to work on with you to do that. Our specialization is to set the expectation right, clearly define who can be the right buyer group. It can be a strategic or a financial, and more importantly, persistence. Franchise India has sold more business than anybody else, not only in India, but globally. So we have a strong persistence. We chase the deal and we get the deal done. So friends, if you are somebody who's considering either to sell your business or raise capital, you can reach out directly to me or my colleague, Varun Mahajan. I'll put my direct number. And today, because it's Sunday, I'm easy on that. So if you can send me a little profile of your, and even if you want to set up a meeting or discussion, you can send me a WhatsApp. I'm also writing my email ID. You can also reach me on that. So my direct number is 9810244330. It's quite easy. You can take and send me a WhatsApp about the business. And if we feel that there is a merit in your business model and we can help both by helping you to raise capital or selling your business, we will come back to you and start a dialogue. And this is a good time. This is a very good time. On one side, the investor side is becoming very, very strong because people want to really come back to business. They want to look at new opportunities and so on and so forth. A lot of liquidity also because the real estate has performed and stock market has exceptionally performed. So there's a lot of liquidity sitting here. And you look at almost every IPO which is coming in get like 100 times oversubscribed and so on and so forth. So if you see the liquidity trend is one of the best today. So a lot of people are looking for active businesses, and especially business if you have, which is also profitable, then don't wait. just jump into the entire thing and we'll be more than happy to help you out. So friends, thank you very much. Thanks for your time today. Really appreciate you taking time out. And please take maybe 2 minutes more to send me a message on what you do and how we can help you. Thank you very much and goodbye from Franchise India.